Hello. Ooh, something is not right about this camera tonight. Let me get that wiped off before we start. Okay. I did something different with the lighting tonight. Let's see. Welcome. Okay, it's almost time to start. Welcome. Welcome. As you come in, please announce yourself and like this video. And that way I could give you a shout out. If you don't say hi, then I won't know you're there. Who's there? Okay. Whew. Okay. That means it's 9 o'clock. Let's see. All right. I'm just waiting for some more people to get on. I kind of opened this up a little bit earlier just because I wanted to make sure that we didn't have any connection issues or what have you. Can you comment and let me know if you can hear me well, please? Yeah, go ahead and click that link and join us. Oh, what's going on? Okay, some people are having trouble. This video is unavailable. No. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. It looks like some people are having a hard time finding the link on Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and find that link and give it to them. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I have people coming on. Okay. Okay. Here's the link. Didn't see it. Period. Welcome, YouTube. As you come in, feel free to announce yourself so I'll know you're there and I can give you a shout out. Also, go ahead and like this video, and that's going to help the video be able to be seen on YouTube. All right. I'm doing it a little bit different this time because I figured it would be much easier just to YouTube. I just want to try it out for tonight and see how that works out. If it doesn't work out, then we'll do it on Facebook Live too. So let me contact the Facebook people and see if anybody's having difficulty getting on, because normally they're on by now. Welcome, welcome. I'm using a little bit of a different format tonight, just to make sure that we don't lose connectivity and just to see how it works out. Last week or previously we did Facebook and YouTube. So I just wanted to see if it works better just doing the YouTube and putting the link in the Facebook. So if you're here from my Facebook group or from my Facebook page rather, or either one, definitely let me know if you got on here okay. Announce yourself in the chat so I know who's with me. We definitely have a slow camera situation here. So let's see what I could do. All right, we're going to get ready to get started. But I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Go ahead and hit the like button so that the video can show up in YouTube and other people will be able to see it. And thank you for coming. I know you could have been doing so many other things, but you chose to hang out with me, and that is awesome. Last week we had a wonderful time discussing, oh boy, hold on a second. Link. Gosh. I'm sorry, folks. People are still struggling to get on. Okay. Welcome again. If you're new here, welcome to Women's Financial Empowerment Group. Every Thursday evening, we do a book chat. This week, I've tried something a little bit different, whereby I'm just doing YouTube instead of YouTube and Facebook simultaneously, to see if that will give give me better results in terms of my internet connection and all the other logistical things. So let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can see me well. I know my internet tends to slow down when I do videos sometimes. So just let me know if you're having any challenges, and I will do what I can to fix them. Okay. I'm just going to wait like one more minute because I know someone is trying to get on. I'm not really sure why they're not able to. Oh, okay. If you are on, please announce. Oh, you can't announce yourself. It kicks me out, and then I have to. Okay, the chat. Okay, is this iPhone? Okay. All right, so you're on an iPhone, I think, right? I'm not 100% sure how to get on. I'm not 100% sure how to get on the chat. I'm not sure how to get on the chat. I'm not sure how to get on the chat with sorry. No, I can't. No. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, folks. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that, folks. When you have family and they forget that you're going live and they want you immediately, that's hard. But okay, let's see. Yes, I think because I'm using YouTube from here is okay. Please proceed. Okay. So let me ask. So I see that you're on and you're having a hard time finding the chat on YouTube. So what it is, from what I've seen in the past, being on these things, is that you go up and there's like a down arrow and you click on that, I think, or it says chat like right under the video. So just see if you could see that. If you can't, then, because chatting is a big part of this thing, I don't want to leave anybody out here. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go live on Facebook because honestly, I value you people. And I want to hear what you have to say. And so I don't want to leave anybody out. So we're going to start again fully so that the people who are having trouble on with just figuring out YouTube chat, you can come on the live on Facebook. So I just went live in the event page on Facebook to give you a chance to get on. So if you'd like to join on Facebook Live in our event page, go ahead and do that. And that way you could take part in the chat. So anyway, welcome again to my channel. This is Women's Financial Empowerment Group. Please go ahead and hit the like button because without hitting the like button, our video kind of gets buried. So if you hit the like button, then others will be able to see the video. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, I'd really appreciate it. So we're, like I said before, if those of you who are new and just getting on here, every Thursday night we have a book chat at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Right now we're finishing up this book by Susie Orman. Right, I have stuff just sticking out of the book. I mean, that's how I read. So Susie Orman, Women and Money. Be strong, be smart, be secure. Now, last week we had so much fun. delving into the chapters that we delved into. Hi, Harumi. Glad you made it. Glad you made it on. Thank you for coming. And those of you who are on YouTube, I'm sorry, I cannot see who's on unless you actually, um, unless you actually announce yourself. So I won't be able to say hi to you personally, but I just want to tell you, I'm so glad you're here. Stick around and feel free to participate. If you don't already have the book, I highly recommend it. I do have the audio book from Audible. So if you would like to read it that way, or I guess that's not really reading, but listening to it, it will be very, very valuable for you doing it that way as well. But I chose to buy the hard copy because that way I could take notes and what have you. And this is one of those type of books that you don't want to just skip through, skim through, but it's really an action-based book. And we're all about financial empowerment. And so you definitely want to read things that will, what's the word? Make you want to take action. All right. So just a little bit about me. If you're new here, I'm a financial empowerment coach, and I specifically work with women. I also work with families, and I support small businesses, particularly ones owned by women. So that's just a little bit about me, and that's what I'm passionate about. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive in. I think I've given a lot of time for everybody to get in. So Harumi says, Ruth. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Harumi, so glad I have you on. You're always so helpful. Yeah, she's giving me some help here because my camera is not set up 100%. My phone is not set up 100% on YouTube. But anyway, let's see. Okay. I think that this is going to be as good as it's going to get for tonight, but we'll try to fix it. No, you're not picky at all. You're not picky at all. You're trying to help me out. And listen, everybody who's watching. I'm not going to assume everybody who's watching is a woman because I have had a man comment on one of my videos before. So if you're watching, this is all about empowerment. And not only empowerment, but for other people, also for yourself. So feel free to help other people out. You know, it's not all about me. And if you help me out, that's great too. So Harumi is helping me out, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Harumi. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We don't have a whole lot of chapters left in this book. I have some other books lined up, and during our next chat, I will announce what the new book is going to be. And we might have a guest on. So we'll see how that will work out. I'm not going to make any promises. If you're just now coming on, welcome to Women's Financial Empowerment Group. I'm so glad that you're here. Please hit the like button so my video doesn't get shrunk down into oblivion and other people can see it. And please comment. Please tell me you're here so I can shout you out personally. But if you're shy, it's okay. All right, so let's go ahead. So today we're going to talk about just chapters 5 and 6. The last time I said we were going to do 5, 6, and 7, but then after that I realized that 5 and 6, particularly 5, is a really long chapter. So I was saying to myself, you know what? Let's just do 5 and 6, and then next week we'll do 7 and 8. You know, we'll just do 2 chapters at a time, give you a break so you're not like overwhelmed trying to like read a whole bunch. And feel free to check out my video about how to read more books if you're really busy and you find it very challenging to be able to read. Okay, so I took a little bit of notes about chapter 5, and one thing I have to say about chapter 5, if you've read it, you'll notice is that it's It gives a lot of advice. Susie Orman gives a lot of advice in this chapter, but it's more like a workbook. So there's a lot of things that you actually need to do. She walks you through different steps. So before I do that, I have to say that if you don't have the book, you're really missing out, because she puts a lot of links in her book of free things that you'll want to take advantage of, such as her personal finance course. She offers that for free. And I don't want to do her a disservice by posting the link on here for everyone to use and they haven't purchased her book. I want to show her that respect. So buy the book and you'll see that she has many links in here with so many helpful things, so you can get your finances in order. So that's one thing. Definitely purchase the book. All right. I love this quote from chapter 5. I think I tweeted this week. Stop talking and just start doing. Oh no, I didn't tweet that. You can tweet that if you want, but I think I will. I think what I did tweet was only one way to conquer fear, and that is through action. And we already know that as women, in general, and this is not every woman, we have tended to have a certain fear when it comes to money. So this book is all about eliminating that fear and giving us that drive forward. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. Harumi says she's glad to hear that she's helpful. All right. So chapter 5 goes into chapter 5 has 4 central goals. So the first one is protect yourself. The second one is spend smart. Third one is build your future. And the fourth one is give to others. If you can hear me well on YouTube, please hit the like button or comment or do both so I can make sure that you're actually hearing me. That would be super helpful. Thank you. All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about the protect yourself part. So within the protect yourself part, there's 2 parts. So the first part is build loans. Okay? So make a comment, put a comment either on YouTube or Facebook if you have an emergency fund, or if you know what an emergency fund is, or if you don't know what an emergency fund is, just put something in the comments. So if you don't know what an emergency fund is, if you do know what it is, or if you have one. Okay, so so if you don't know what an emergency fund is, it's basically like what they say, save up for a rainy day, right? So what she says here is building a financially secure life starts with laying a foundation that will support you when the unexpected happens. Okay, so yes, Harumi says, yes, that is for 7 months spending. Yeah, 7 months is a really good goal. Yeah, to keep somewhere, exactly. In her book, she recommends 8 months. And she says that she knows that that's a lofty goal, that's a big goal and everything like that. However, you just take your time and you work yourself up to that point. You work your way up to that point. So, yeah. Good job, Harumi. You were really close to what Susie Orman said. I'm surprised that, no, well, you read the book, right? So, but I thought people would say more like 3 months or what have you, because before, I started doing this, I was always told like 6 months worth of expenses. So let's talk about some of the things that we use our emergency fund for. So go ahead and type in the chat if you have an answer to something that you would use your emergency fund for. And then I'll share mine. But I don't want it to be just me talking. Okay. Oh, okay. You used to watch her program on TV. Okay, yeah. Um, so tell me, what would you use an emergency fund for? Like, what's an example of what you would use an emergency fund for? You could take it directly out of the book, or you can share from your life. Either way, it's fine. Those of you watching on YouTube, please let me know if you can hear me well, because I want to make sure that 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 my speech is coming out clearly and loud enough for you. And go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already, and comment so I know you're there. So I know who's there. All right. So here's a question. Here's another question. So mortgage, okay, yeah, you can use it for your mortgage. That's true. Yeah. Any other answers of what we can use our emergency fund for? What if I need new furniture? Like, I need a new couch. Is that a good thing to use the emergency fund for? And sorry, I keep wiping my face. I am sweating bullets tonight. So I would say, yeah, I would say, okay, good, very good. Unexpected accident. Thank you, Harumi. Yeah, that's another good reason to use an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is only supposed to be used for emergency situations. So a couch, for example, would not be a good use of your emergency fund unless that's the only thing you can sleep on and your previous couch is broken. Um, there's no there's no reason to really use that for your emergency fund. So if you need braces for your child, that's not an emergency fund thing. But like Harumi said, if you have an accident and you can't go to work, or I don't know what else, if you can't go to work, if for some reason you cannot. Oh yeah, that is a good point. You can sleep on the floor. That is true. That is true. Um, for some people. But the point is that emergency fund is just for emergencies. So it's not to be used for day-to-day expenses unless you have to use it. So that's like if you've lost your job, then of course you need something to cover your rent, your utilities, what have you. That's what it's for. So the more you have saved up, the better. And yeah, exactly, like if your car is broken. So I mean, obviously you can't get to work if you can't get to work without your car, then that would be an emergency, if you don't have money from someplace else. So I think that's sort of on the edge, because you should have money set aside for things like fixing your car, but that's a totally different subject. um, But in a situation where you have no job, you haven't worked for months, and you're going out looking for work every day, you need that emergency fund money to be able to fix your car. I think um, that's a valid reason to use it. So thanks for going through that with me. Um, I personally feel like, and this is sort of off topic, but it's still on topic because it's still emergency fund we're talking about. Personally, when I do my tax returns, I always set aside part of my return to go into my emergency fund. And in this book, Susie talks about, um, ways to do this. A lot of people feel it's so daunting. Oh my gosh, 8 months worth of income. How can I do that? That's too much money. There's no way I could come up with that. But she says, just start somewhere. If you even have $50, and those are my words, not hers. If you even have $50, start putting it aside somewhere where you're not going to touch it, and just keep doing it. Keep doing it. So so she has a whole section here that says, how much money will you need? Okay. Now this amount is going to vary per person, right? Because we all make different amounts of money. We all have different expenses. So she says, write down how much money you need each month to pay all your essential bills. So that's your mortgage, your utilities, food, insurance premiums, etc. So you really have to sit down and write all of that out. All right. So then you write down your monthly cash needed. Now you multiply your monthly cash needed by 8 to set your emergency fund goal. Okay. And that's how you will be able to calculate that. So she takes it further in explaining, and she says, set a monthly savings goal to build your emergency fund. So the first thing you need to do is divide your emergency fund goal by 12, and then write down how much that is. Then divide your goal by 24, then 36, 48, and 60. So she says, it is up to you if you want to aim to build your fund in 1 year, then you would divide it by 12. If you want to build it in 5 years, you divide by 60. So you get the point. So the number of months will determine how much you have to save each month. I hope that makes sense. So again, to figure out your emergency fund, you have to first know how much money you need to spend each month. So you have to be able to keep track of all of your major expenses, such as mortgage, utilities, food, insurance premiums, and other things like that. And then you divide it by whatever amount of months that you think you'll need in order to come up with your goal. So you decide what you want that to be. And you have to stick with it too. So she has a savings pledge here. And that's one of the things that I love about this book. How she empowers us in this book is by telling us to say certain things. Because there's power in your words, right? So here's your savings pledge. So she says, I'm asking you to commit to saving in a real meaningful way with these words. I am ready to stop worrying about how I will handle unexpected but inevitable expenses. I am going to save, and then you fill in the amount of money that you're going to save a month for whatever amount of months. So obviously, if you have this book already, you can just go ahead and either photocopy this page or write it out or what have you, and put in your figures into those. And just put it up on, I feel like for me, it helps when I can see things. I'm a visual person, visual learner. So I like to put things up on my wall, and that helps me stay accountable to myself. It gives me better self-discipline. So I really think this is great, just having that pledge that I'm going to put away this amount of money every month towards my emergency fund. So she goes into more explanation about emergency funds, and things like that, and the different things that you want to use it to do and what have you. And so, when you read through this, or if you've already read through it, then you already know all the different details of things that you can do with your emergency fund. But again, like I said before, we don't want to use our emergency funds up, and we're not working for a certain amount of time. We can be able to still live our same or similar lifestyle. We can pay all of our bills. We can be able to eat and not feel like now we have to be homeless because we don't have a job. So it's a really good support system to know that if something were to happen, you have this money saved up to take care of that. And what a great example with this COVID-19 thing. Um, People who had an emergency fund didn't have to fret as much because they knew that they could still they could have enough money for a few months to cover their expenses, right? So it's important. So I implore you, if you haven't started an emergency fund yet, please go start one because it's very important. And everybody's at a different level, right? So if you can't afford to save a whole huge chunk of money, because let's face it, not everybody has it, especially right now, right? You know, sometimes you only have an extra $10. So you have to start wherever you can start, but start. Exactly, right. You got to start somewhere. And that's what I want to encourage everyone because I know what it feels like to have to live paycheck to paycheck. I've totally been there. I've lived from paycheck to no check before. So I know what that feels like. So for somebody to sit up here and tell you, oh, you need to start saving, you know, it can be a little bit, but you don't know my story kind of situation. But just know that little bits add up. So wherever you start, just start. Even if it's a little bit, it'll add up over time. So before we go forward, I just want to welcome those who just came on. Thank you for joining us at Women's Financial Empowerment Group. I'm your host, Ruth Agbeloso, and I don't even think I introduced myself in the beginning. So, yeah, if I didn't, I apologize for that. Please go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already because we don't want this video to get buried. I'm sure this will help even one other person to get on track with their finances. Okay. And so if you're just coming on and you're not familiar, we are just discussing this book, Susie Orman, Women and Money. And we're talking about, Women and Money, Be Strong, Be Smart, Be Secure. It's the revised and updated version. And it's available the last time I checked on Amazon, which is where I bought my hard copy, and also on Audible, which I do also have the audiobook. So whichever way you get it, just get it because this is amazing. It's wonderful. Susie Orman goes into so many details that when you follow them step by step, you'll really make a difference. Okay, so she says, don't think about it, do it. So I'm just going to repeat that. Just do it. Just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. Start today. Start somewhere. You got to start. All right. Let's move away from that now and let's go to the next point. Life insurance. Now I know. For a lot of people, life insurance is, it's not a very pretty, fun topic. And I have to tell you this much. This is the part of the audiobook I didn't really enjoy. I'm just being honest. Yes, I'm a financial coach. You know, it's still hard. It's hard thinking about not being around one day, but it's facts. It's reality. You know, we're not guaranteed to be here for a certain amount of time. So we need to prepare. There are people in our lives that love us, that we have, depending on us, we need to have this in place. On page 75, she talks about that. And there's a quiz on page 77 to figure out if you even need life insurance. Because believe it or not everyone needs life insurance. So I think life insurance is more about, you know, who are you leaving behind? What kind of lifestyle are they going to have? Are they going to be able to afford your funeral expenses and whatnot? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't have life insurance. So when they pass, their family has to do GoFundMe or pass the plate around at church or what have you to try to cover those expenses. And then that's it. You know, a lot of times they just get enough to cover the expenses. That's it. She goes into a lot of details about life insurance. So that's why I said, let's just do these two chapters because this chapter is so long. But the point is, this is important for you to know. And if you take the quiz and you find out that you need life insurance, don't fret about it. Don't let it be something that you stress yourself over. That's what I'm saying, because, all of this can be a little bit much. And you may be thinking to yourself, man, that's another thing I have to spend money on. But think about it. You know, you're worth more than money, hands down, right? You're worth more than money, hands down. But if you have a spouse, um, or a partner, or if you have children and they depend on you, they work with you, when I say work with you, I mean like a spouse or a partner, you share bills and whatnot. Can we just agree that it would be a major hardship if you were gone? It would be a major hardship. So why not take care of some of the financial hardship while you can? And, like I said, I understand if this topic is uncomfortable, because when I first started thinking and talking about life insurance, it was uncomfortable for me. As a matter of fact, years ago, I used to sell life insurance. So it wasn't easy talking to people, especially people who just didn't really want to spend money on another thing, that, like another insurance or what have you. They didn't really see the value in it. But let me tell you, when you lose someone, you lose a lot. Um, and so at least if you take care of this ahead of time, they can have some of the things that they need. For instance, your child would be able to go to college without, whoever is left to take care of them worrying about how they're going to afford college. Your spouse can cover the rest of the expenses. Give him or her the time to grieve without having to feel like, man, I have to go to work tomorrow, because if I don't, how am I going to pay these bills? So I don't want to spend too much time on this. If you have a comment or a question, please go ahead. I'm not here to preach, but I know that a lot of people struggle with this topic. It's a really hard topic when it comes to finances, but it's all a part of the package. So, and if you've ever heard of the term income protection, that's what they're talking about. Life insurance. It's the same. It's the same thing. So, even though there's different terminologies, just know it's the same thing. So, what Susie recommends is term insurance. I'm sure you've seen the commercials, Gerber and other ones like that, and you know. So just know she's not encouraging you to get those. So let me just give you some keywords for term insurance in case you haven't got the book yet. And if you do have the book, you can just go ahead and turn to page 80. And if you've read it already, please comment, anything that you've learned from it, or any questions or what have you. So I'm not going to read this whole thing because that would be ridiculous. I'm just going to read the terms that she lists here. So here's one. Term. What is term, right? It refers to how long your policy will last. Term life insurance can be for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, even longer. Okay? So the idea is that you're not paying for this for your whole life. You're paying for it for a term, a certain period of your life. Okay, a life insurance policy if you die during the term. Okay. All right. I just got a message that our internet was a little bit shaky. Hopefully I didn't lose anybody. So like I just said, I'll just repeat because the internet seemed to be a little bit shaky just now. Beneficiaries are people who will be paid by your life insurance policy if you die during the term. Okay, and if you want any further explanation or anything like that, leave a comment in the comment section, and let me know. Or if you have a comment, leave a question, and you can also leave a comment. All right. The next term is death benefit. The amount of money that will be paid to your beneficiaries. Okay, so that is the benefit. So, for example, a $500,000 life insurance policy has a $500,000 death benefit. So, in the event the insured person dies while the policy is active, so what's called in force, the beneficiaries of the policy will receive a $500,000 payout from the policy. So just know that that's what that means. All right, and the last term here is premium, the annual cost to pay for your coverage, just like homeowners insurance or renters insurance. So as long as you keep paying the premium, you are covered. So the key thing is not to let it lapse. If you let it lapse means like if you don't pay for a month or something like that, you have to keep it up. Because just with any other insurance, if you don't pay it, you've lost that coverage. You want to make sure that you are consistent with the payments. But my thing is make sure you have payments that you can actually afford to begin with. I know that's a whole other topic, but you don't want to get wrangled into a situation where this company is telling you, oh, you need this amount of life insurance and, pay this amount every month. And it's just not the amount of money that you can afford, because that doesn't make any sense. You have to live now and eat now. So it wouldn't make any sense for you to try to pay for something that's beyond your means so you can leave something behind. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, just comment, do something. So I know you agree with me there. So it's important to live while you live. And then you can think about, providing for those who are left behind when you go. Okay, so she goes into details about how to calculate the death benefit. Like I said, this chapter is uber long, lots of numbers, lots of calculations, all good stuff, all great information. You need to purchase this book, I'm telling you, because she just goes through so many details that if you never even, thank you for that. Yes, I appreciate that. Harumi says yes. So if you've never even heard of life insurance before, it's okay. She goes through so many details that you'll be well educated just from reading this book. At least that's my opinion, but I might be biased. I'm not sure. But yeah, she even breaks down the difference between a female and a male, and what age. If you start at a certain age, about how much you would need and all of that. Just real great stuff, how she breaks it down. And then she goes into how to shop for life insurance. So she says, create your shopping list. So here's what you'll want to ask an insurance company. You'll want a level term policy for a certain amount of years. So you pick the amount of years, and a death benefit and you'll pick how much money. And remember, the death benefit is what is going to be left behind for your beneficiaries. And again, beneficiaries are those people who are depending on you that you leave behind. So hopefully that is all clear. So she lists a bunch of websites that you can go to start shopping. I'm going to list them just to help you out, even though, some of you read the book already and some of you haven't. So I'll just go ahead and list off some of these websites so you can go ahead and start checking them out. So the first one is accuquote.com. So that's ACCUQUOTE.com. The next one is policygenius.com. And then there's quotacy.com, and that's spelled QUOTACY. And then the last one is selectquote.com. If you need me to repeat any of those, let me know. If not, go ahead and check those out if you don't have life insurance yet, so you can just get some different quotes. And again, like I said before, don't get suckered into paying a huge amount of money each month and you can't keep it up, because that would really defeat the purpose. And those are my words, not hers. Maybe she said that somewhere here. I don't know. No, I don't think so. But she does list out how to calculate what you need and whatnot. So definitely do that. And she recommends that you sign up for auto payment. Again, like I said before, if you lapse your payment, you lose your insurance. You lose that benefit. So you want to make sure that you have auto pay so that you never miss a payment. And that's a good principle for every girl, right? Who has auto pay? Type yes in the comments if you have auto pay. You have auto pay? Yes. So what auto pay is that every month the money is deducted from your account. You set it up so that every month the money is deducted from your account, so you don't have to actively go and pay the money. So what that eliminates is you waiting too long to put it through, and then it doesn't go through the for the right date, or oops, I forgot. um, I'm just telling you what I know, people. I have made so many money mistakes, and I think that's one of the things that qualifies me to be a financial coach, because I've made so many financial mistakes that I can tell you how to not do all of them. I can tell you how to avoid all of them because I've been so great at making mistakes. I feel like a champ at mistake making. If there was an award for mistake making, I think I would get it. But unfortunately, no awards for mistake making. So I'm just telling you, auto payment is the way to go. For life insurance, for bills, what have you, auto payment. And all of the financial coaches, who I like to call gurus, whatever, they're going to tell you the same thing: auto pay. Trust me, auto pay. Yeah, you want to make sure because you don't want to miss a payment. It just really, it really stinks when you miss a payment. And I should know. I've done that too many times in my past. All right, moving on to the third step. Oh my gosh. Like I said, this chapter is uber long. Create your must have documents. So I'm going to run through this one really quick because I don't want to keep you too long. And thanks for sticking with me on YouTube and on Facebook. If you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and hit the like button. And I really wish you would comment in the chat just because I want to know who's here so I could shout you out. But I understand if you're shy, maybe next time. But I am happy that you're here with us. All right, so important documents, okay? Wow, there's just so many. So there's some must-have documents that you need to have. One of them is an advance directive. So if you don't already have one, definitely you want to have it. I'm going to read this part to you. I mean, again, I want you to get the book and I want you to read it. So I'm not going to read everything because, we're supposed to be chatting about the book, right? But I have to read this because in case you haven't been able to get the book yet, I want you to be able to read this, to get this. Okay, this is what an advance directive does. This document clearly spells out the level of medical intervention you want in the event you become too ill to speak for yourself. A range of situations is addressed, including consenting to or refusing any care or treatment, such as pain relief, selecting health care providers and institutions, approving procedures, and directing end-of-life decisions, such as organ donation and providing or withholding nutrition and resuscitation. In essence, you are giving directions in advance while you are able to make sound decisions to your doctors or medical team. An advance directive is also known as a living will. So I read that because I thought it was worthwhile. A lot of people don't think about that. You can have an accident and the next thing you know, your family or, spouse partner, whoever, has to make a decision on your behalf, wouldn't it be nice if you had an advance directive in place so that they know exactly what you want to happen? If you're not in a position to speak, they'll know ahead of time, look, she would want me to, this is what she wants. She wants us to provide this medication, do this or do that, or donate her organs or what have you. But it's good to have a living will so that um, everybody will know what you want and you'll be able to get what you want in most situations. Okay, next one, adorable power of attorney for healthcare. Um, okay, all right, so this one I'm going to explain as well, because again, if something happens to you and you have to go to the hospital, ladies, and if there's any gentlemen watching, I tell you, you know that there's a lot that goes on when someone goes into the ER. There's an emergency. So if you have something in place ahead of time, it can really be helpful. So a durable power of attorney, this is what it does. Um, so it says, now the hard truth is that an advance directive living will does not guarantee that doctors will automatically follow your wishes. Surveys of doctors and medical students have shown that there is much confusion in the medical community about how to interpret an advance directive. That's so unfortunate. Anyway, this is an excruciatingly difficult area for everyone to navigate. You, your loved ones, your doctors. In such situations, your durable power of attorney for healthcare becomes your voice. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm just going to tell you. So, your durable power of attorney is that person that's going to be able to basically translate or relay what it is that you want. Okay? Because it's not enough to have an advance directive many times. Having that advocate, whether it's a spouse, friend, adult child, what have you, that's going to be essential, right? And again, all of this is preparation, preparation, preparation. Because if we don't prepare ahead of time, then we really don't have the power, do we? You know, this is all about financial empowerment, and it's scary, it's daunting. But you'll find that when you take charge and put things in place, it gives you that peace. It gives you, you feel more powerful, like you have more power over what happens in your life. So those are some things that I really would stress, that you really want to look into getting those documents, and having the power of attorney. You know, it's a legal document that you have to sign with the person and lawyer and what have you. But you want to make sure that that happens sooner than later. You don't want to wait until, I know a lot of people wait until they're like elderly or something like that, but you don't want to wait until you're elderly, because by that time, you know, you just never know. You know, a slip and fall could like throw everything out the door. You know, your bones become brittle, and so you just never know. I mean, you don't want to wait. The sooner, the better. That's what I would say. But again, I understand everybody's not in the same place, so you have to do what's best for you at the moment. So, she also talks about, and I'm not going to read this whole thing, but she talks about creating a revocable living trust with an incapacity. Sorry, I can't even read the word. Incapacity clause. Yeah, I did read it correctly. So this is good stuff, y'all. You got to read through this. Let me know if you have, and you know, what were some of your takeaways, because this chapter, I think we're probably not even going to touch the next chapter too much, because there was just so many action steps in this one. Okay, so the next thing she recommends is you should have a will. Most people have heard of a will, right? We mostly see that in movies and other places, right? I whoever leave my whatever to my son, and then everybody's like mad and they start fighting. You know, why didn't I get the car? Why didn't I get the house? Yeah. So you definitely want to have a will. so that you can figure out where everything goes and to whom and whatever. All right. So she says that to draft your must have documents, you can get a kit, and she offers a kit for $69 to her readers. So you want to be her reader so you can get it, because you can definitely go to a lawyer and get these papers drawn up, but I can tell you that they're going to cost a pretty penny. And when I say a pretty penny, multiple pennies. So if you get a kit, you can walk through step by step and figure out how to do it yourself and save money if you do it that way. If you can afford multiple pennies to the tune of maybe thousands of dollars, then I would say go with a lawyer. Then you don't have to deal with it. Um, all right. So the next section, spend smart. Okay. And then in this section, she just basically goes through like some of the big ticket items that we spend on home, car, college, and what have you. And what really stood out to me in this chapter is that when she says, yet what I see happening all too often is that you borrow based on the advice of someone who does not care one iota about your future. I mean, that is so true. I don't know if you have ever bought a car. So comment if you've ever bought a car. You know, you sit there and you tell them how much you want to spend. Like they ask you, oh, about your monthly payment. How much are you willing to spend? Oh, what kind of interest or whatever. But of course, they don't know how much food you buy in a month, whether you have to send your laundry out. Oh, my internet's getting choppy again. They don't know anything about you at the auto dealership. They don't know anything about you, so they're gonna sit you there and they're gonna tell you, "Oh, we can give you it for this amount or that amount," but they don't know the full picture, and they're gonna try to push you to pay something that maybe you can't really afford. Maybe it sounds good at that moment, but when you start to pay it, you realize it's such a burden because you didn't take into consideration all the other expenses that you have. It's not all about just your income. And I think that's what they try to focus on when you go and get a car. It's like, oh, make and what's your credit like and stuff like that. The next thing you know, you're just spending way too much money for this thing. And the same thing with a home. Your mortgage lender is not going to think about your vet. He or she is not going to think about how many times a week you drink a Starbucks drink. They're not going to think about what's really in your best interest, because it's about making money and it's about what they think is the right thing. So bottom line is, you have to do what's best for you, and you have to live within your means, right? That is very important. If you want to become financially independent, and that might not be everybody's goal, but if you want to take better charge of your money, the first thing you got to do is live within your means. So she says, live below your means. And I'm looking at my notes, so sorry, I'm looking away over here. Live below your means, but within your needs. And particularly for women. And there could be some men watching this, and maybe you have a wife or a girlfriend or what have you, and you can attest to that, is that women tend to pay a lot more for their vehicles, because our bargaining or negotiating skills may not be as good a lot of times, and we tend to get convinced that this is what we need, this is what's best for us, kind of thing. So isn't it good to know that just going into a dealership, now you can go into a dealership and think in the back of your head, this woman or this man does not know me. Even if I tell them my credit score, even if I tell them my income, they don't know me. So so I have to think about my own needs. Yes, Harumi, you're right. You have to know, Harumi says, you have to know how much your monthly needs. Yes, that's correct. So you can't just go with whatever they say. But now, after listening to this, hopefully you'll think about that. If you don't get anything else out of this, I want you to get out of it that, you have to live within your means, below your means, because you want to have a cushioning. You don't want to spend everything and then don't have anything. So, and you want to walk in with that confidence, knowing that you know your life story, you know what you can spend and what you already spend, and don't let anyone sucker you into paying more than you need to be paying. And they're always going to show you something more expensive than what you said your budget was. I mean, if you agree and if you've had that experience, go ahead and hit the like button, comment, jump up and down, whatever, because I have had it happen to me too many times. Buying a house, buying a car, and they're always showing us something that's more expensive. Yeah, Harumi says they just tell you only 1 month car payment portion, making you feel you can pay easily. Exactly, exactly. And then when you get into it, it's such a hardship because you didn't think about all the other things that you have to face. And like I said before, it's always more expensive, isn't it? Like you tell them you can only, you're looking for something that's 500, and they always want to show you something that's 600. It's like, what is that about? And then they try to convince you to like stay within the 600. Anyway, I digress. So I'm going to move on. So yeah, live within your means, whether you're buying a house, car, what have you. And she goes into all of the details. She has a quiz here about on page 95 about whether you should rent or own. So you definitely want to take that quiz and see, what makes sense. Because sometimes maybe now is not the right time for you to buy a car or what have you. But I mean, not buy a car, buy a house, but you feel like you really need a house. So, it's important to know whether this is the right time for you to buy. Sometimes we go based on, what we feel, but sometimes things are not really in line and we have to think about the bigger picture. And that can be hard. I don't know about for you guys, but I know in the past I've really struggled with that, between my wants and my needs. And, just, we want a house, we want to buy a house, but, we didn't think about all the other million things that goes with buying a house. So keep that in mind. And she says, do not lease a car. So, you know what? I'm not going to get into that. Leasing is just, people like it. I'm not going to beat up on it. I'm not going to say anything negative, but read her book, page 101, before you think of leasing a car. Because honestly, I wouldn't want to lease a car. I feel like that's just like throwing money away. All right. And she talks about college. How much do you want to spend on college for your kids? It's definitely something you want to think through. And at the end of the day, does it really, really, super, really matter which of the colleges they went to? I mean, sometimes it matters, but sometimes it doesn't. And that's something you definitely want to look into so you're not paying out all this money at the end of the day. Yeah, she says, yeah, yes, emotional feeling might get your way. That is true. And we know as women, a lot of us are very emotional, driven by emotions. And that's not a bad thing. But sometimes it can really get in the way or, allow us to make mistakes with our money because we're, thinking with our emotions. So when she goes into the whole section about, college and getting loans and whatnot. And, it's very detailed. So I won't bother go into that. If that's something you need more information about, you can definitely read through on your own. And then she talks about building your future, and that's all about retirement planning. Um, so I just want to stop there for just 1 second. I'm not going to get too detailed with the retirement planning, but I just want to say to everyone watching that that is very important. As a matter of fact, the retirement planning is actually more important than funding your child's college. Um, I know that sounds rough, and I have a child in college. Yeah, thank you. I have a child in college, so I know that, so I know that, that is something that's so important. And as parents, we want to make sure that they can go to college and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your retirement fund in place, then you'll actually end up being a burden to your children. And, you won't be able to live the life that you want to. So definitely check that out. Okay, you know what? We're not going to go too much further because it's already after 10. The rest of the chapter does talk about, retirement planning and investing, long-term investing. And we're going to have several videos about investing and all of that. So I'm not going to go too detailed in that. I'm sorry, folks. I don't want to keep you all night. And like I said before, chapter 5 is really super long, really super long. And then chapter 6 is sort of like a piggyback on that. So chapter 6 just gives us like a checklist for each of those areas mentioned in chapter 5. Um, so it just gives us like a checklist. So this is chapter 6. Let me show you. This is chapter 6. That's it. That's it. It's just that. It's what, 3 pages? It's not even 3 pages full. So we're not really missing anything, not really going over chapter 6. It's just a checklist. Okay, I'm going to stop here because it has been long enough and I don't want to weary you. There's so much meaty information here. We've got to read, folks. I mean, that's how we're going to empower ourselves. That's how we're going to make better financial decisions and be able to help our families, cross the threshold that they need to cross. My thing is financial independence. And I know everyone has different goals when it comes to their finances. Maybe you want to get out of debt. Maybe you just want to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you just want better control over your money. And so continue to read. If you haven't gotten this book, God willing, next Thursday night, and we'll cover chapter 7 and 8. And it won't be this long because those chapters aren't nothing like chapter 5. Chapter 5 was a doozy. So anyway, I hope you come back next Thursday. Hope you like this video. Share it with your friends. Come back and be prepared to chat because I don't want to hear myself talk long on and on and on. I'm not a professor. I want to be able to interact with you. I want to hear what you have to say because I'm sure that you're getting something and I want to know what it is. So with that being said, thank you so much. Look at my links in the bio. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help my channel out by subscribing, liking, and sharing. I wish you well, and I hope you come back again. Take care now and have a good night. Oh, I can't end. Oh boy, this thing won't end. Okay, you're welcome. Good night, Harumi.